Come on in. Come on in. Come on in. Not come on in. Not come. Sorry, y'all. Y'all know I'm weird. Whatever.
Hey everybody, what's up? It's your girl BondyBlue. So let's go ahead. Let's go ahead. Hey everybody, what's up? It's your girl BondyBlue. Okay, follow me on Instagram and let's get into the video. Right?
Hey. What's up? What's up, everybody? How y'all doing out there? It's your girl BondyBlue. I'm back in this bitch. I want to see. Hold up. Did it work? Yeah, it worked. It worked that time. All right. Hi, everybody. I got a cute little show for y'all today. I don't know why I'm saying Lil, because I feel like I'm gonna be here for a long time. And I hate that for us. I don't really, because I have some good shit. I got some good shit for y'all today. First of all, we're gonna start with Shannon Sharpe because I want to get that out the way. We're gonna start with Shannon Sharpe. I'm gonna holler at Kevin Gates right quick, right fast, because I don't have time for all of that fugaziness that man got going on. Like, what's really going on here, sir? Okay. Then we're gonna talk about the Dear Future Wifey podcast in that episode with that elder woman and her elder husband, the pastors that came on and discussed their relationship. We're gonna talk about how they over there backpedaling and pussy popping about what they meant in the context of what they said and all of that. We're gonna have a real good conversation, okay? And then we're gonna end with Rashida and Kirk, because I watched the full 2-hour interview of Kirk and Rashida on Carlo's channel. And I want y'all to know I did that because I love y'all. Okay. Oh, yes. And Sinners. We're also going to discuss Sinners. And that's why I low-key was like, shit, maybe I should make Sinners a video by itself. Because, like, I'm going to just give y'all overall thoughts. But I think I might do a more in-depth video, you know what I'm saying, about Sinners later. Okay. Can you put spoiler alert before getting into... See, y'all work on my nerves. Why y'all can't just stay away from any Sinners content until you ready to hear about it? Why I gotta add some extra to my title? Like, people do this all the time when it comes to these movies, and I just feel like, do yourself a favor. If you see the name, don't watch it. Don't watch it. That's what I did, baby. Now, I wasn't really planning on giving y'all any spoilers, but I also feel like it's a movie you should go into blind. I hope you know it's a vampire movie. I hope I didn't kill that for you, okay? But I need y'all to use some some discernment. Just don't watch shit y'all see the name in the title, okay? I'm not just gonna throw it up here on y'all. I'm not just gonna, like, like I'm whipping my dick out or something like that. Like, I'm not like, surprise, bitch, send the spoilers. Like, I'm not gonna do it like that. I swear, okay? But I got some shit to get into, bruh. So, like, stick with me, and I'm gonna try to not be too long-winded so we can get through these things, because it's really complex conversations that I want to have with y'all about some of this shit. But also, we ain't about to be going on and on, because there is a theme here. Okay, there is a theme, especially when we get to this conversation with, and that's why I said I wanted to end with Rashida, Kirk, and then the lady in the preacher situation, because those two situations are so similar and they're doing the same thing. So I want to have a conversation about that. All right. Because that's what we're here for. We're here for conversation, girl. Because listening to Kirk and Rashida, like, I'm like, am I one of them people that like just be online, like wearing y'all the fuck? I hope not. I hope I don't come off that way. Like, I do feel how I feel, but I feel like y'all downplay shit, and we're gonna get into that. But let's go ahead and start off with Shannon Sharpe. Okay. So these are the details. Okay. Shannon Sharpe is being sued for $50 million by a Caucasian woman. I'm going to go get her name in a minute, because at the beginning of this, she was a Jane Doe. All right. She claimed to have met Shannon at a gym in LA in 2023 when she was only 19. Shannon was reportedly 56 at the time. From there, they got into a consensual relationship. But as As time went on, she claims it allegedly turned physical and emotionally abusive. According to the recent filed lawsuit, Jane Doe alleges that during her 2-year relationship with Shannon, he would exhibit controlling and manipulating behavior. She claims things became turbulent between the two shortly after Shannon was caught on live having sex with a woman named Michelle. She says when she confronted Shannon about it, he became irate and told her he could do whatever he wanted to do. Then, shortly after, he allegedly broke into her apartment to show her that what that Doe wanted was of no moment. What was of no moment? I'm reading it. Okay, what Doe wanted was of no moment, that Sharpe would get what he wanted when he wanted it. I think they need to rewrite that. That's a little confusing. Plaintiff tried sharing her location with friends from her iPhone just in case, the lawsuit states, but Sharpe saw her doing this. The moment he realized what she was doing, he grabbed her by the neck and told her, if you ever do that again, I will fucking kill you. Then in October 2024, Shannon allegedly violently sexually assaulted and anally AR'd plaintiff 2 different times in Las Vegas, Nevada, blatantly ignoring her request for him to stop. He did it again in January. Jane claimed she was crying and sobbing during the alleged assault, but Shannon continued. As we previously reported, the woman is asking for $50 million in damages. The woman is also being represented by Tony Busby. So when I first saw this story, y'all, I was like, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. You put Tony Busby in it. Now, all of a sudden, after everything that has happened, I don't believe it. Okay. Now I need for you to provide me some evidence in order for me to feel this way. Well, the evidence that made me start to believe that he actually did this shit was the fact that she was 19. At first, I did not realize how young she was. So off rip, I was like, oh, this is a lie. Here we go with this shit. Tony Busby, right? You know, like, I'm not believing nothing Tony Busby. But the age thing came up. And I really want y'all to be so for real with yourselves, because y'all have conversations surrounding this as if you're not seeing the bigger picture here, right? Regardless to whether y'all want to believe that she set him up and antagonized a violent response from him, because that's what a lot of y'all are saying, that she antagonized the response. Now, oh, you could tell by the tone of actually saying, oh shit, AT&T is outside. I don't know what's going on. AT&T is outside. I don't know what's going on. Y'all tell me, what am I looking like before I continue to go on? Okay. The age makes me feel like you wanted that relationship for all of the advantages that her being young come with. You wanted to be able to be more knowledgeable about things. You wanted to be able to force yourself on her and have this type of aggressive, violent relationship. And you felt like because she was young and also because she was an OnlyFans model, I think you felt like that made her prime for you to be able to do this to her, and there will really be no consequences. And I truly think you will probably get off, especially if the video she has doesn't really prove what she's saying, which is that she was sobbing and crying as you were assaulting her. But I want y'all, I want y'all to be very, it's freezing from time to time. Okay. They're outside, their truck is outside, and I see my bars going down. I don't know why they decided to work on the internet today, as I am in here trying to get my work done that I felt so excited to come and talk to y'all about. But when I tell y'all, if I got to do this live again, this shit gonna get done. Understand me. Understand me. This conversation will be had. Okay. I'm good. Okay. I do not like the conversation that's happening in the comments, right? Which is what Monique told him. Monique told him to get you a woman your own age. Get you a woman your own age. And then get you a black woman your own age. Because the idea is that a black woman his own age would protect him. And if he distributed these violent or aggressive behaviors, she would check him, therefore making his behavior okay. She would heal him through it, which then puts all of this labor onto Black women to fix a man that really is just looking for the perfect victim to abuse because he wants to abuse somebody. Like there's an aggression, and I want to be able to talk to you like this, and I want to be able to handle you like this. But I also want you to consent to the abuse. I want you to consent to it. Even though I know along the way I will be able to push boundaries, I'm going to get you to consent to it because I'm going to wrap it up in a certain wrapping that makes it look good, right? I choke you up. I smash on you real passionate like. But then when you do something to upset me outside of the bedroom, I then, I do this same shit. I'm mean to you. I'm aggressive with you. I'm violent with you. I need for y'all to understand that in real life, yes, thank y'all. Thank you so much for the 127. Thank you. Thank you. I want y'all to understand that when people are actually in BDSM relationships, in order to make sure that they are on equal footing, the submissive often has a lot of power over the dominant. On top of the fact that you have to like agree to everything. You have to agree to anal. You have to agree to how things happen. You have to have code words that you use in order to stop things when they're too much. There have to be so many parameters put in place that I believe a 56-year-old man that decides to enter into this specific type of relationship with a 19-year-old girl is really only looking for someone that they can abuse and then get away with it. I'm sorry, y'all. There's no other way around it. And for a lot of the people in the BDSM relationships, and I have, seen it in real life, I want y'all to ask yourselves if outside of a scene, are you in a push and pull relationship? Because if you are in a push and pull relationship in the dynamic outside of the scenes, it's controlling your consent in the scenes. I want you to recognize that because I feel like some of y'all are not understanding that because you are in somewhat of a toxic relationship outside of the scenes, you're having a drug-like addiction and reaction to this person in scene and out. And so when you agree to certain things, you're doing it out of coercion. But you are made to believe that this is a decision that you're making for yourself. But you have to really pay attention to what the relationship feels like when you are not in a scene. And I feel like people who are not educated on BDSM culture, y'all are going to see these text messages, y'all are going to hear their conversations, and y'all are going to feel like, oh, that's just a part of what they do. And I'm about to tell y'all, when you fully look at the picture, no, that's not how that goes. That's not how that goes. He would have had all types of paperwork. He would have had all types of paperwork on this girl. This is the same man that told y'all that he won't get into an elevator with a woman, a young woman by himself. He will not, because he doesn't want anybody to think he would assault someone. When somebody is thinking that much about how someone might think that they would do that, they probably would do that. And they think they're so smart about it that they would go and get a younger woman who's an OnlyFans model, that's also not a part of the Black community. So now you've done 3 things that are going to make your image be able to be regenerated, right? You've messed with a white woman. Black women will be, in the comments, that ain't got nothing to do with us. So now they don't care about that. That does not tarnish your image that badly to the Black women that don't care because you did it to a white girl. Then there are the churchy Black people that are not going to care that you did it to the white girl because she was a OnlyFans model, meaning she was a sex worker, meaning that whatever happened to her, she invited, because that's the mentality a lot of y'all have. If a woman is a sex worker, then if somebody takes advantage of her, then that's on her. When that's really ridiculous. Just because you invite somebody into your store doesn't mean they can take anything they want out of your store. And just because they buy something from you one time doesn't mean that they can come back in your store and take something else. Like, if you understand that, I don't understand why you don't understand that sex workers have rules too and can say no when they want to say no. And you shouldn't just automatically believe that the man didn't do it simply because somebody is a sex worker, because they can still have moments where they say no. They can say moments where they say no to a person because that person is giving off creep vibe, meaning that when you get me in that vulnerable situation, you're going to do shit I don't want you to do to me. Older sex workers would know that because they've been put in those situations as young women. This girl is 19. Even if she is a sex worker, I feel like you probably have not done enough work in order for you to know that men will act all cool until they get you into a vulnerable moment. And when you say no or stop, they ignore you. That's happened to me, like, in relationships. There was somebody in the comments talking about, oh, this doesn't happen when you are in a biblical sacred marriage. It doesn't. Go look up how many women get assaulted in their marriages. There are statistics on it. Okay. So you white, you a sex worker, and then she's young. She's young, which automatically creates a power dynamic where you're not going to have sympathy for the child. Y'all just not. Y'all don't. Y'all act like y'all do. But in real life, people blame the kids for being assaulted all the time. People tell the kids to change their behavior so that they don't get assaulted. And you do the same thing to grown adult women, and it doesn't matter what they do. So me personally, I feel like there are so many things wrong with this situation that you absolutely sought her out to take advantage of her, and nobody is going to tell me any different, because this is a 56-year-old man that has had enough life experience to know that being with a younger woman is a risk. It was a risk he was willing to take. So then understand the type of man that knows that this is a risk and still does it. It means he's reckless. It means in some area of his life, as much as he is trying to feign control, he's actually not in control of his urges. He's not. That's why he wanted her, so that he would be able to get out. Because please understand that when men assault women, it is because they're angry. It's about control. But if I get mad about something, I might want to come and hurt you. And I feel like if I pay you, then that means it's okay for me to do it. That's why a lot of these people don't see anything wrong with this. So these are some of the text messages. I want you to put a dog collar around my neck and choke me with it while you're effing me. This is what Gabrielle Zuniga, who is the victim, the alleged victim. This is a text message she sent to him. So we know that this is the type of relationship they have. But she was very specific in this text. I want you to put a dog collar on around my neck and choke me with it while you're effing me. So if you're not effing me, I'm not giving you permission to put a dog collar around my neck and choke me. But y'all don't want to be that specific, even though you want to be that specific. I know you miss this big juicy ass, $25K for each cheek. Girl, you better get that money. I bet you he was willing to pay it too. But that's the thing. That's the thing. The lawsuit filed by Gabriella Zuniga and orchestrated by her attorney, Tony Busby, is a blatant and cynical attempt to shake down Mr. Sharpe for millions of dollars. And I don't even have to read all of this. I already know you're going to say it's a money grab. It's a money grab. I don't have to read all of this. I already know. You're going to give us evidence of all of the shit that she said to you that we should find offense of. You better crave it, because you're going to be stuck with it for life after you put a big black baby in me. Yeah. This was put out in order to enrage the black women that are not going to give a fuck because he did it to a white girl. Like, he knows what he's doing. That's why you release these specific text messages. I put my tongue in your and then marry you. Like, she was putting her tongue in his ass. Like, she was taking a lot of L's here. That's my daddy D. I want you to put, like, this is all just nasty talk. And I honestly feel like it's really weird for him to post that shit, as if she did not say they were in a consensual relationship. She said y'all was in a consensual relationship. You sending us y'all nasty text messages to each other does not negate the fact that you could have still done all of the things that she said you did to her. Surprise. Two things can be true, people. Two things can be true. But that was meant to upset everybody on that racial shit. That don't work on me. Nice try. Let's listen to these audios. Hold up, I don't like this one. Let's go to the top. Because I saved so many of them.
Well, you're coming to LA tomorrow?
Yes.
Well, I don't know why you want to go out.
Don't worry about it, Daddy.
Well, okay.
Okay, what?
Well, I'm not really interested in getting choked, so I guess we're going.
Yeah. I might choke you in public. Big black guy chokes small white woman.
It's not a good look, Shannon.
Not a good look that you did what the shit you did to me.
Okay, well,
So y'all, a lot of people in the comments think this is kink, this is role play, and that's a possibility, y'all. That's a possibility. I still feel like that's a piece of it. But when you look at it in its totality, the entire relationship has an imbalance that cannot be performed. She sounds young and dumb because she's 19. She's young and dumb. It's only really an act and a performance when the person isn't really young and dumb and they're just performing it for a scene. That's not what this sounds like. That doesn't sound like they're performing this in a scene. It doesn't. It sounds like something actually happened that pissed him off. And so now he's talking to her crazy and telling her this type of shit. And that would have been all well and good, him telling her he's going to choke her, if she's not alleging that he did worse shit to her. So, yeah, it could be a money grab, y'all. And I want y'all to recognize that sometimes the girls who do the money grabs, the shit still happens to them. They are angry. They are pissed off. They don't, especially if they stay quiet when you did those things to them and then you disregarded them or treated them bad on the back end. It is still, I need for y'all to understand, it is still very much a possibility that a woman will be okay with the abuse while she's in the relationship. And then when the relationship is over and she actually is away from it and starts to think about it, then you're like, oh, wait, the fuck? And you get angry. And now you want vengeance. And yes, I want 50 million and not the 10 million you offered, because he offered her 10 million. She turned down the 10 million because she wants 50 million. And I feel like if you want 50 million, you better have some damning evidence, because you could have just took the 10. You could have just took the 10. But it could, like, y'all could be on, oh, it's a money. It could be a money grab. I don't care. Give her money. Give her money. I hope they just settle it. Give her money, man. Like, we ain't got to do all of this with y'all. I believe that there's also possibly another young woman that's accusing him as well. So we'll see. Because, see, it can be a thing for men with money to want to abuse women and get away with it. So they employ sex workers to do it too. But the part that's fucked up is the sex workers aren't always agreeing to all of it. They're not. They might agree, you can choke me, but no anal. And then you do it anyway. So I feel like this is one of them situations where, like the person said, we're in a recession, times are hard. if you've done these things to somebody and they want to come and get their bag for it, and yes, it's still wrong. It's still wrong. It does not matter to me if the person who you're abusing is okay with the abuse. It's still wrong. It's still wrong. And I feel like the fact that he sought out such a young individual, it just tells me a lot about his mentality. And the fact that you wanted to do these things, because y'all listen, I know people that are into BDSM, and I feel like it is such a fine line between people consenting and people being in toxic relationships, consenting to things that they are literally being coerced to do, which means they're doing it not because they're actually comfortable with it, but they're doing it because they want to appease the partner, because the partner has put in some type of work outside of a scene in order to get them addicted emotionally to the push and pull dynamic. And especially men who are in BDSM and do this type of stuff, they know the mental of it, y'all. They do. They're not stupid. They know the mental. A lot of people are hung up on, oh, is it legal? You know, is it legal? It doesn't matter if it's legal, y'all. It doesn't matter. She can sue him, and so she should get some money if she can sue him. Because men hoard wealth, and men also feel like they can abuse women and get away with it. So I feel like, yeah, give up some of that money. You'll make more. You'll be okay. Give up some of that loot, son. Y'all need to give up some of the loot. Give it up. I'm sorry. That's how I feel. If you feel like you can have these power plays and these power dynamics where you are always sitting up top and looking down below, you're going to have to pay more than you want to pay. And that's just what it is. So I'm done with this, you know. I don't have anything else to say right now. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes, y'all. So let's move on. I want to go to, where is it at? Where Kevin Gates. Okay. So we're not about to go through every clip because I don't have time for Kevin Gates and his Kevin Gates-doms. Okay. He got on the internet and said he didn't like the way Savannah James looks at LeBron James. He likes it the way the white women look at LeBron James. You know what I'm saying? With this admiration, they're fans and they see a big black man. They're also fetishizing him. A black woman would not fetishize a black man because she is also black. And this is the reason why I feel like a lot of times, even though men want to be in relationships with women, you do not see them as human. You don't see them as human. You don't see them as a reflection of yourself. You don't. You separate yourself in some type of capacity. I am a man. So in some way, shape, or form, I am more valuable. So you should be looking up at me with admiration. And in my mind, I felt like he was just projecting. And I imagine that the issue probably is that Drika doesn't look up at you the way Brittany does. You probably notice that similarity. I think the point is that once you know somebody, you see them clearly. When you don't know somebody, you look at them with a haze. You are putting a halo over them. You are not seeing them fully. You don't want to be seen fully. That's what that is. You don't want to be seen for the good and the bad. You only want to be seen for the good. And this is why I tell y'all that Kevin Gates has a cult-like thing going on with him. And, you know, me and ChatGPT disagreed. Nova didn't feel like it was a cult-like thing because it can't see the manipulation happening in the relationships with the women. But as you see, it is starting to unfold. Right? So he was projecting his situation on to LeBron James. LeBron James saw it and posted, "Kings don't concern themselves with the opinions of peasants. Where to next, queen?" And there's a picture of Savannah looking at him, but him also looking at her. Okay. And you looking like you done swole up a little bit and you not on your health conscious shit the way you supposed to laying in that bed. So, you know, I want you to get your life together. He got up here and talked about how the truth hurts And obviously, since LeBron responded, what he said must have truth to it, right? We don't need to put ourselves through that. Then the nigga decided to take himself down to the basketball game and sit on the front row. Where is it at? I know I saved it. Yeah. Look at him. Meaning, I'm going to come up here with all of my 55 chains around my goddamn neck and my whites-ish worshiping, adoring former slut, which means she does nasty shit under all of that, robery and such. Under her job, she does nasty shit, okay? And I get to sit here with my titties out while she's fully covered. So that means she's only for me, but I can be for whoever I want to be for because my titties are out. And I'm going to sit on the front row, LeBron, and I'm going to watch you with my creepy, I might want to fuck you nigga stare. Kevin Gates and Diddy have that in common, that energy where they might want to make a man feel as uncomfortable as they know they can make a woman feel by giving them the like, nigga, I'll fuck you to hurt you type thing. That's the vibe I feel like he sat on the on a court and had, and then took these types of pictures and shit. Relationship goals. Is that right? I hope you were being facetious. Ciao. So much. Just so much projection and weird nigga shit. My God, today. All right, y'all. We gonna move on. I don't have nothing else to say about that. Because I want to get to the other shit, right? I want to get to the other shit. Okay, so I'm gonna take a moment. You guys, can y'all do me a favor and support the channel, send me money and shit. Like the video, whatever you want to do. Okay, I really appreciate it. I need to go find something. So thank you.
Anywhere you go, you belong. Anywhere you say, anywhere.
Okay, y'all, I'm back. So I want to get into the my dear, whatever the fuck, dear future wifey. I had to think about it for a second. The podcast, you guys. Okay, I think my bars went back up. So I think they must have fixed whatever the issue was. Okay. So I don't know if y'all saw the first clip, which I posted on my Instagram and TikTok page. So I'm gonna find this original clip for you guys, and then I am going to get into them backpedaling and pussy popping. Hold up. Dear future bitch. Dear future bitch. Dear future bitch. Let me see. Okay, he didn't put it on his channel. Wait, no. Did he? Okay. All right. Matter of fact, we just gonna run it off his page. That's what we gonna do. We gonna run it. Y'all ready? Y'all like the video? Y'all told you people I'm up here? Y'all talking? What's going on? Y'all engaging with the content? Y'all happy to be here? Fuck with me. All right.
Dad had 10 kids by 6 different women.
Yeah.
You know, Exodus 20 verse 5 talks about how the sins of your forefathers will visit you.
Mhm.
Well, I'm telling you, them demons visited me. And I was out shooting craps one night at this illegal place. This young lady was with me. It wasn't her.
No.
One of the gentlemen, he said, "Hey, man, is your dad Alonzo still?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "I remember when he would come in this same room and he would have different females with him." And to me, that was a flex. I'm like, that's what's up. And then this older gentleman, he said, "Is your grandfather LeBron still?" I said, "It is." He said, "I remember when he used to come in this same room and he used to have different women with him." Now, when the gentleman who knew my dad, that was cute. But when the second gentleman said it about my grandfather, I was like, wait a minute. My son, who's 33, he was 3 at the time. And I'm thinking, this is going to go from Lilburn to Alonzo to Reggie and then Isaiah.
Right.
And so when I left that night with the young lady, normally I would go upstairs and, do what you do. And I dropped her off and kept moving. I drove home scared that night. And see, the Bible says in Romans chapter 7, verse 18, that there dwelleth no good thing in the flesh.
Right.
So in other words, we all have an evil nature.
Absolutely.
Through God's grace that we're trying to manage.
Yeah.
Like I said earlier, you can be saved and not delivered.
Okay.
So a couple of months later, she was leading worship at my dad's church. It was Saturday morning practice.
Yep.
And the Lord instructed me to get a bucket of water and wash her feet and repent to her for what I put her through.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
beautiful.
And he
Yeah.
did.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never, ever from that day, ever washed another person's feet in my life,
Right.
except my own.
So in that moment, how did you feel getting that moment of reconciliation?
Honestly, I didn't want him to do that because I love him so much. I didn't feel
Worthy.
It's I don't know if you've had that happen to you, but it's a very humbling experience to have someone
Exactly.
wash your feet. And it made me uncomfortable. But of course, we cried together and hugged together. And, of course, I received it and loved him. But I was uncomfortable with it because you don't have to do that for me to, accept your forgiveness.
Did you
But
realize why God allowed him and instructed him to do that?
I do now.
Why?
Because he had to it was saying thank you and just humility, the humility
That
of
word.
it,
That word, humility.
It's not just about humility. If you really want to take it a step further, it was so that you can see what you are actually worthy of. And the way you are uncomfortable in this moment tells me you still don't see that. And I think that's the thing I noticed about them backpedaling and pussy popping. It was them trying to act as if this is something that they've grown out of. And I don't believe that. I don't believe it's something that they've grown out of. I think it's something that they have grown through. They have grown through. As I say, men get old. Men get old. And this lifestyle is no longer suitable or easy for them to maintain. But the women have stayed steadfast the entire time. And they've just been a symbol of the abuse. But you're supposed to be able to, get to the other side of this. That's what they say. You're supposed to get to the other side of this. But what I find is that the other side is merely just a conditioning and a weakening. It's not really it got better. It's he got too weak to do it and you got too weak to fight. And so now we're just codependent and we're here. And the ramifications of that power dynamic in the relationship are going to persist. She's going to continuously make self-sacrifices. He's going to allow her. He's going to not do as much of the heavy lifting in the relationship, in the household. In some way, he will find a way to put more on her plate than is on his own. And she will be okay with it. So this was the original clip that was going around.
A radical heart shift from that moment. I got in my word, under my word. I just completely changed as a person. And I realized that God loves me, that God has a purpose and plan for my life, that God chose me, that I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. Yeah. So he would call me out my name. It wouldn't bother me because I allowed God's voice to be louder than his. And when I was going through transition of him not coming home on the weekends, not being there, telling me I hate you, I'll never love you, I wish I never married you. Right. I knew that life and death is in the power of the tongue through the word of God. So I would say, you will love me one day. We will have a good marriage one day. And although he would go out for weekends, I would literally help him get ready to go meet a side chick by ironing his clothes and getting him ready for the night. And these are all things I was graced to do. I would not encourage anybody to do that unless you are graced by God to do this. But once I knew who I was, I realized,
child, if it wasn't for the Lord, okay. So a part of the commentary on that was me seeing a lot of y'all feeling like the church in the Bible doesn't tell y'all that. And I feel like it kind of does. It says you can leave and all of that. Yes. But I want y'all to understand like the sacrifice that it's asking you to make, which is to go through pain in order to get to the good side of things. And so you feel like that pain is something that you just had to go through. And it's really, really not. Hold up, because I want to go back to the comment. I wrote some shit down about this. Okay. Hold up, y'all. I'm coming. Y'all, I was chat GPCing my ass off last night. Cause I saw the movie. We're gonna talk about the movie too. Damn. I don't know what I did with it. Okay. Shit. I remember it. It don't matter. Okay. This is conditioning. The way the entire religion is set up is that somebody had to go through like torture in order for everybody to be free. So this is teaching you that it is a virtue to be self-sacrificing. It is a virtue to dishonor what you need for other people. That is what women are being taught by way of religion. The religion itself teaches that to everybody, but what we've noticed is that men mostly live in it to use women in the way that the Bible says, which is a secular way. Everybody acts like, oh, the Bible is so separate then from the world. But the Bible really is a book that can be used in order to get women to serve you and to commit their lives to you. And they call it about family. And the man says that he does the same thing for the women because he pretends to be domesticated. I'm in the house. I'm with the kids. We're cooking and cleaning. I'm not cheating. Like, that's what you're to be. That's what, you think is happening. But what's really happening is the men are taking advantage of the way the women are mentally set up to see themselves as vessels to be sacrificed. And then they feel like their pain and everything they've gone through, it's now okay at the end of it because God said so, because God is redeeming and all of these things. And it's a way for you to say that, and I'm gonna be real with y'all, an imaginary entity is now made happy because you've suffered. Are you happy now because you've suffered? Do you feel happy and whole now after everything you've been through? Because if you do, then great. But if you lying to yourself, if you still not being able to do things that please you, if you're still not being able to be in a relationship with yourself, because see, what happens a lot of the times with religion and with relationships with men is that it's not even about them stopping a woman from having relationships outside of the marriage like it does for men. It really stops the woman from having a relationship with herself because she will be self-sacrificing. And anything that she wants will be deemed in some way worldly and not of God. When it comes to wanting something outside of the relationship is what I mean. And I feel like this is only used for men to control women and to get servitude out of women and for everybody to feel like it's virtuous and it's being done for our betterment. And if it can, it convinces you that you should be living this way because what God wants, something outside of yourself, then your suffering is now, it has meaning now. Your suffering has meaning now. And but I need for y'all to understand that when it comes to people like this and Rashida and Kirk, their relationships are being used as examples of how women should stay through abuse. Because on the other side of the abuse, then there's going to be your heaven. Just like you should be okay with abuse during this life so that you can get heaven after you die. Meanwhile, the people that teach you that steal your land and create heaven on it. Hello, sinners. Listen, it's all gonna add up. The themes are ever present, babe. The human themes are ever present, babe. So let's listen to a little bit of them backpedaling and pussy popping.
Us well to have this professional unpack this conversation in hopes that it brings healing to the masses. To bring context about that video, the video that people took and shared across social media platforms, that story that Kelly and Reggie are sharing wasn't with Kelly and Reggie as pastors. That story has been unpacked from over 28 years ago. He was between the ages of 19 and 24. Right. He was living a very wayward life. And we'll talk about the word abuse emotionally, mentally, and psychologically that he inflicted on Kelly, but it wasn't him doing that as a pastor, which most people were feeling like he was a pastor doing that. He wasn't even saying it. And so,
well, do you think that changes the context of the impact of the actions? Do you think that being a pastor changes the context of the impact of the actions on her?
I think that not the impact of the actions, but putting framework around it. Meaning that I would say if he was a pastor doing that, that's even 10 times worse. Because the calling of a pastor as a shepherd is definitely not meant. The Bible says that a pastor will be judged even more harshly than anyone else when they're just really leading their flock astray. So not minimizing the impact of what was done by no means, but putting context around it that a lot of people are saying, see, these pastors are doing X, Y, Z. I just like to make sure that when we have this conversation, we're having a conversation in the context in which it was, because that would be unfair to be speaking of him as if he's a pastor doing that when in fact he wasn't even a Christian man at all.
Yeah, I think the concern wasn't the fact that him not being a pastor, because I think most people actually watch the whole video can tell that he wasn't a pastor at the age of 21. I think the concern was also as currently as a pastor. I think the concern was with you too as well, Lateris, was the laughing off of like such horrible and sounding pretty like tough and difficult acts. So he is currently a pastor. And this episode was recorded in March. So I think the concern is not solely about what he did previously. I think it is about that as well, but about two people laughing at, well, three, because I think you were also laughing as well as the victim of the abuse, but laughing at the abuse of what was being in the first place. So he's currently a pastor and he was laughing like a month ago. So I think the concern was also like the accountability piece. And I don't think it was just the clip, because most people actually, if they could stomach it, watch the whole thing. And I watched the whole thing too. And I didn't think from beginning to end that it changed my mindset on like just concerning when it comes to the narratives and things like that. Because I know your whole goal is transparency. And when we talk about transparency and
it would serve us well to have this.
That it was abusive.
That singlehood isn't a punishment.
I never said singlehood was a punishment. I've got a daughter.
It's just that when you came back, when they're like, what do you think when people say that, like they don't want to stay that long, and you said, well, that's why they're single.
I'm saying no. I'm saying is from early on stages, people, to me, my opinion is there are couples people that want to date, but they want to finish products. And sometimes you've got to build with that person to become the established man or woman of God, is what I meant. Not take abuse, be a doormat, be cheated on, and take it until you can make it. I wouldn't advise that to anybody. I've got 5 children, 2 daughters, 3 sons. Okay. My children are healthy and whole. I would not advocate any of this treatment for my children, my church members, or anybody. I said my worst enemy. So please understand that that's not what this was. And I'm sorry that I didn't say what I went through was traumatic. It was painful. It was abusive, and it was wrong. I thought me sharing that was giving that definition, because clearly those treatments are painful, abusive,
yes,
and wrong.
And you wanted to show us that you were loyal and you were ride or die. Right, Andy? And we talked about that yesterday.
I should have put trigger warning. Right. This is emotional abuse. And I, and my immaturity and my lack of identity and my not knowing who I was, didn't know that it was dysfunctional until I realized who I was as a woman of God, and what God said was marriage, and what God said was relationship, and what God said was family, and what God said was healed. I didn't know that until I knew, oh, we're doing this wrong. There's a better path. And so therapy, I'm looking at some of the comments. My husband and I've been in therapy The same therapist.
20, since 2010.
We
15 years.
our church. Here's our therapist number.
Absolutely.
We see him on a regular basis.
Absolutely.
We understand that it takes community, it takes the word of God, it takes therapy together and apart. So we advocate these things to maintain health.
Right.
I wasn't able to, I didn't know, Latarius, I didn't know it was a counseling session or we weren't thinking that way. We're thinking it's an interview about our marriage, what we went through and how we overcame. And now we have a book called Love Letters, How to Make Your Marriage Better, based on what we learned through our 34 years experience of marriage together from a very rocky 4-year start when we were teenagers.
And the thing is this, we've been sharing the same story for 20 years. And this is the first time that we've ever got any backlash. There's a lot of people that watched a portion of it and they've come to a conclusion that all this has been going on right now. And we're talking 28, 29 years ago.
I don't think any of us thought that. It was very much being said as it was in past tense. So I don't think any of us thought that that was something that was currently happening. What we are tired of is these examples. We see them in real life. We see them repeated in media. We don't see as much women leaving these situations. We see more that you stay and you grit through, you bear down on it. Let's continue.
And I'm looking at some of the people like, I'm 24 and I would never go through that. I'm thinking, when we did this, you weren't even alive.
Right. And I have a lot of women that reached out to me wanting help with their marriages, wanting advice on how to work through things. And so there's a lot of positives that are happening that are coming out. Yeah. But they weren't traumatized and they weren't triggered. They said, okay, maybe this woman has an answer, not to see an abuse, not to be treated poorly, but to know who you are and understand that what God wants from you, and hopefully apply that to your current relationship or marriage. Or single women, you can be completely whole and complete and be single and be a strong, mighty woman of God. So please, those things that came out in that 1 hour and 20-minute interview and the 20-second clip of me ironing his clothes for what I assumed was a side chick because he wasn't coming home on the weekends when he was 20. That little clip right there, I did that during that one little short season of my 34-year marriage, 36 months of that to the rest of our whole life together. So that's not what this is. That's not who we are.
A small amount of it. So you waited, right? You thought about, this small moment. Is that all of the relationship? Y'all do that a lot. Y'all weigh it. You have to weigh it. That's why you're staying, because you're looking for a reason to feel that it's worth staying. And a lot of the times money makes it worth it.
Serve us well to have this professional.
Money absolutely makes it worth it. A lot of the women feel like, and that's what Rashida and Kirk did.
That it was that singlehood isn't a punishment.
Let me jump in real quick.
So an example of the fact that, like, you mentioned that you wish you had more support. And even when I asked you what you would have done better, like if you could have. So an example of
so I can actually make it go fast, y'all.
Fact that, like, you mentioned that you wish you had more support. And even when I asked you what you would have done better, like if you could have received something, you still stated that, like, oh, well, I was going through it as Christ. I wish I had known that, like, this is what Christ was putting me through. What I'm saying is I don't think that is what Christ is putting me through.
I didn't say that. I said I wish I knew who I was in Christ. Jesus didn't put me through what I chose. God didn't tell me to stay and be abused.
Yes.
God didn't say you need to suffer with this man you chose. The Lord was not in those decisions. No,
I misspoke on that. I'm saying that you could be in Christ and leave. That's what I mean. I'm sorry. I misspoke in saying that. I don't want people. So I'm just trying to clarify. In stating that you're saying that you're in Christ, I'm not saying that God spoke to you, because you did very clearly state that is not what happened. What I'm saying is you can identify the fact that you are in Christ and you can also leave. That doesn't make you any less Christian.
The Bible permits divorce for adultery. So I had if you want to go biblical, I had my biblical right to divorce. Now, I don't believe the Lord wants anybody to be physically abused. Or in any kind of domestic violence situation,
or mentally abused,
mentally, emotionally,
isolated,
any abuse, financial abuse.
I said all at the beginning. I said all that at the beginning.
Any abuse. The Lord is kind and doesn't want any of His children to suffer and go through that for the sake of being married.
So is He though? Y'all gotta ask yourself that question, because I feel like sometimes y'all deconstruct religion to suit your point of view. You don't deconstruct it to really step away from it and gain perspective. You deconstruct it so that you can explain why you still carry those beliefs now. Like that's what it feels like to me. They're backtracking. Sure.
I guess what I'm hearing from you, doctor, is you wish I would have said, this is abuse. It was wrong for my husband to say, I abused my wife. Instead of laughing about it, you would rather us say what we were actually doing to each other.
So an example of the fact that
yes, because when y'all put a lot of flowery Bible verse church language, you then create this metaphor when we are talking about something that is very real and literal. Y'all go into a figurative speech. When you go into figurative speech, when we are talking about actual real life actions and consequences, where are the consequences? And that's what I'm talking about, y'all. Y'all don't really, where were the consequences? Y'all went to therapy, and because somebody told him his granddaddy was a hoe, now all of a sudden he's different. Like, I feel like you don't say, we never see the men show what made them change. How did you change? What work did you put in? What did that really look like? And that's what takes me to Rashida and Kirk. Because Rashida and Kirk really annoyed me in their interview with Carlos, because it's like you can't just take accountability. You can't just take accountability for what it is, right? You have to, in some type of way, make it seem like everybody is always viewing you through a cracked lens, right? Like, oh, y'all see what's on the show. Kirk hasn't cheated on her all those times and all of this shit. Like, I'm gonna go through my notes, y'all. I'm gonna go through my notes. But there is literally a theme that I am seeing here with your relationship being an example of women staying through abuse. And then in latter years, still not really seeing it for what it is. So for instance, they really wanted to laugh at, oh, it wasn't grooming. We were only 6 years apart. But what did we find out in this interview, y'all? Kirk had a studio. As I thought, and I feel like they watch me, because I've said that I felt like Kirk was it's obvious that Kirk was a dope boy. Like that was obvious. So Kirk put the dope boy money into the studio. That's what we find out. Okay, smart. Very smart. All right. And remember again how I told y'all this overlapping between the music industry and street life and street culture. Remember I told y'all about that overlapping? Okay. Yandy, Medicis. Okay. Right. Kirk had a studio. He signed Rashida. There's a 6-year age difference. They met when she was 17. She made sure to tell us they met when she was 17, and then some time went by. They went on their first date when she was 18. We always, I'm sorry, that's a red flag, y'all. We clock whenever men over 21 want to make sure to tell us that they didn't have their first date until the person was 18. It usually means you're lying and you just want us to feel like the legal age of consent is when a relationship started, when the truth of the matter is it probably started before. The emotional part. That's why it's called grooming, because whatever the emotions that you've exchanged before the sex are then implemented. So then by the time they get to the legal age, now you can have sex with them. But you've already put the work in before they were legally able. But that's not even a point, y'all, because it don't even matter, okay? They first date at 18, 6-year difference. So what does that mean? Kirk was 25, right? Okay. Kirk asked if she wants fame or wealth. So he presented Rashida with choices, and then he presented Rashida with a way of pushing her career forth. So I want y'all to understand they're trying to change the power dynamic in their relationship to make it seem like Kirk is being Rashida's assistant. Yeah, that might be the case now, if you want us to believe that. Like, I'm doing this for Rashida, I'm doing that for Rashida. But y'all have to look at the power dynamic. You have a 6-year age difference with an 18-year-old who you are offering money and help to pursue her dream of being a rapper. They're still not being honest about the power dynamic in their relationship from jump. Okay? Even if you're not trying to take advantage, that's still a imbalance in y'all's power dynamic from jump. You're older and you're managing her, and you are the one offering her a career that she just felt like was over for her. She explained that she was in a group. The group didn't work out. Kirk said, I'm going to sign y'all. Okay? They talk about what Rashida has done because of Kirk, right? So we need y'all to understand the things that Kirk has done that were good by Rashida. Making sure that Rashida owned her own masters. She was writing her own music. They have been licensing their own music. So yes, I can remember being so excited hearing the type of girl you want to chew while on my bubble gum, watching United States of Terror. I remember the feeling of being like, oh, I'm so happy for Rashida, because I go to college in 06 in Atlanta, and that's when I become familiar with Rashida's music, and I really started to like Rashida. We also find out that Rashida was rapping before Shawty Low. They showed a lot of respect to K. Michelle for those one-liners, you know, continuing to make them famous or add to their fame. You know what I'm saying? It didn't make them famous, but y'all know what I mean, just adding to it. Rashida owns her masters. Shawty Low actually rapped like Rashida. They said Rashida wrote on Ain't I? Okay, I was like, really? Because that's one of my favorite songs, bitch. I listened to that shit the other day. Ain't I? Ain't I? Ain't I? Ain't I so much wrong? That do sound like you, bitch. Ain't my money long? Hey, y'all better give Rashida her props, stupid ass. Okay. Then we get into how the frauds have 11 houses and one in the Bahamas. Okay, so we want y'all to know that all that hurt that she went through, it has come to a financial benefit at this point. And a lot of the girls know this. A lot of the girls are, you know, feeling like I'm okay with abuse because I'll have some financial payout, right? Shannon Sharpe and Gabrielle, right? Okay. Doesn't make it any less fucked up, but you got money now. So great. Okay. Because that's great. That's great. We all want houses in the Bahamas. Okay. Rashida said that she pushed Kirk away after having her baby. She was going through postpartum but didn't know it. So this is when you start to blame yourself for why Kirk was treating you the way he was. But before she got pregnant with that baby on season 2, before that, Kirk was treating Rashida like he did not believe in her music anymore and he wanted her to stop being a rapper. Like he the same song that he got up there on the internet and acted like, you know, oh, that song then been streamed 1 billion times. Nah, all y'all haters, put him on and make him on to marry me. But Kirk, you was the first one to sit in a Jeep and look at her like she was fucking stupid when she played that song for you. You was the first one to sit in Rashida's face and tell her that her music wasn't popping like that as you were doing all of this. Now, I don't know if that's real life or not. Y'all made it seem like that was real life. In real life, when we go back and watch it, they were always in some type of push-pull dynamic. Okay? And we don't have to be married for 25 years, Rashida, for us to know what push-pull dynamics in relationships look like, and especially what they feel like. All right. So their relationship made people hate them. And it also made a lot of people want to stay in their toxic relationship. So you have people that are mad at you for staying, and then you have people, you know, calling you the dumbest bitch in the world. And then you have people who, you know, feel like, oh, it's so nice to see people go through shit and stay together. Everybody should do what is best for them. But what I want to draw attention to is that this is a part of an overall conditioning for women to stay in these submissive, oppressive relationships. And that as long as at the end of it, when you damn near close to death, it shakes out for you and becomes fair, then your sacrifice was, you know, for a reason. Your sacrifice meant something, right? Kirk said that he doesn't want Jasmine, but Jasmine wants Rashida. I can believe that Jasmine wants to fuck Rashida. Rashida acting like she not into women and that's not her thing. Okay, Rashida. She went through a lot, but people run with what they want to run with. Kirk couldn't believe people wanted Rashida to leave him after all he's done. That was another thing. Another thing, Kirk, that you display, even during the interview, is this energy or tone of, yeah, I fucked up, but it ain't that serious. It ain't that deep. Like, that's, you still, I feel like, are downplaying what you did. When you said that you were mad at people because they told Rasheeda to leave you, and then y'all kept playing up this, that's my best friend, that's my best friend. That's not how you were treating her. You weren't treating her at that time like she was your best friend. You were treating her like the wife that you was tired of dealing with, the wife that you was tired of needing shit from you. You was acting like Rasheeda was working on your motherfucking nerves, Kirk. That's how you act season after season after season, Kirk. Y'all literally had a cycle from season to season, and y'all can tell us whether that's fake or not. But you had a cycle where everything's fine, but Kirk starts to complaining and just Rasheeda, like just complaining about stuff, being ornery, being unhappy about shit. Then he would go out and do something, or something disrespectful would happen. Hot tub scene, bringing the Jasmine girl to the house because all of that shit is for cameras and stuff. But just the fact that you would even think to do some shit like that means it's something that you would do. Having that apartment, you know what I'm saying, that she didn't know about. Having artists that she didn't know about. Then all the while that shit was going on with Jasmine. You get Jasmine pregnant. And then that whole situation plays out on the show, and you still be out there at the clubs and doing shit in a manner that makes it feel like if a bitch know how to shut up, she might be able to get a nice little setup, where you come over and do your business and she get a nice little comfortable lifestyle, thanks to Kirk, because Kirk has acquired a certain type of lifestyle. And Kirk comes from the school of thought that if I can financially provide for all of these motherfuckers, then I can have them. That's just what a lot of men, like, from his school, that's what they believe. He can lie to his mama, but that's what y'all believe. She prayed and God led her to stay. So this is another instance of y'all using language telling us that it was prayer and you returning to your faith that made you feel like you did not need any real separation from this man. Rasheeda tells us that she was living in one house and he was living in another house, and the paperwork was on the table, and she still did not leave. And I feel like she should have left, if only to gain perspective of who she would be without him. He had done enough that just being in another house, I felt like was not enough. You needed to be left, divorced, and then meant to figure out life on your own, since you did not value what y'all had together. And he says that he, every day he was doing whatever she wanted him to do for a whole year, begging and begging and begging until she finally took him back. But we didn't get a chance to see that. So that's another thing. We don't get to see how he earned your trust back. And we didn't really get to see you actually showing how hurt you were behind it all, because what Rasheeda likes to do all the time is play tough and save face. No matter how abusive the situation was. And it was abusive because it kept you feeling like, it kept you on a roller coaster of feeling bad. But you still sitting before us of blaming it on postpartum depression as to why he went and cheated on you. And not the mindset that he could because he wanted to. When that's really what it was. So when she did leave, she had their kids guilting her into staying. So that's another thing. I know your children don't mean any harm, but sometimes they should shut the fuck up. Because I feel like even if Rasheeda and Kirk ended up getting back together, it still would have been nice for her to go and be by herself, seeing as though she had been in a relationship with that man since she was 18 years old. And even if they were living in separate houses, that's not the same thing as Rasheeda being actually single and free of Kirk out in the world. And there's a difference. And so for me, I feel like because of the way he had that pattern with her of making shit right and then doing something again, season after season after season, you can go back and watch it. It wasn't just the Jasmine thing. And they're literally kind of bunching everything up like, oh, it was just this one thing. And outside of that, this is my best friend. And the way he used to look at her. Yeah, all of that shit is well and good. Stop acting like we weren't seeing what we were seeing all those seasons, making Rasheeda feel less than so that she felt like she had something to prove. Making her feel like she had to fight and scratch and survive good times to keep y'all's relationship. And then she a Gemini, right? So when she finally gets tired and she cuts you off, she still don't fully separate from you. She still has to deal with your guilt. She still has to deal with being your wife to the world while not really being with you in real life. Never in that did she actually free herself for you to have to deal with the consequences, and then for her to be able to go out into the world and do her thing, whatever that looks like. Even if it didn't mean getting into another relationship, it just meant not being Kirk's wife. So I feel like you feel like you whipped his ass because you was mean to him for a year. But in the grand scheme of things, as many times as y'all went on that roller coaster throughout the years, you really should have been entitled to time away from him and what it meant to be his wife. And you never gave yourself that. So for me, I felt like there weren't any real consequences to his actions. How do you really learn when there are no real consequences? I feel like Kirk really felt the brunt of how other people treated him more than he cared about Rashida being upset with him. It was how he was then viewed out in the world. And that's another thing I heard from him. As somebody that came up seeing themselves as a fine man with money, with swag that can get whatever they want, he gets on reality TV, dogs his wife out, and becomes lame, and everybody starts ripping the shit out of him. That has fucked with how he sees himself. So now he's insecure in a way that he wasn't before. A part of what he did with Rashida at the beginning of their relationship was built on the bravado he had at that time. Now that you're older, you don't have the same bravado. You're not as full of yourself as you once were. So you've been worn down to acting a little bit more right. But for y'all to act like Kirk was always treating Rashida so kindly and so great, and they just had this moment of him cheating, y'all are not being honest. Y'all are not being honest. Carlos says it's not odd for people to stay calling her dumb, and they don't have the perspective. I feel like when people are calling you dumb, Rashida, is because they know women like you in real life and they feel like those women are dumb. You may not be dumb in the grand scheme of things, but you're just another example of a woman sacrificing herself for a family, and us having to watch her being the one that's taking the heaviest weight. We still don't see Kirk actually carrying the weight that we feel like you had to carry. It's the same thing with the pastor. It just always looks like an imbalance. She carries the weight, and now she has to explain why she's staying with you, and she has to explain why it's okay for her to be with you. And then she always has to deal with people feeling like she's the stupid motherfucker for staying in the relationship instead of him being a stupid motherfucker because he lost it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you may not be stupid, but this amount of disassociation is unhealthy. And it's not a good example. And I think that what happens in these relationships is y'all want to be a good example because y'all stayed together. In 2025, that's not what we feel anymore. I also feel like, why do y'all think we don't have enough examples like y'all? Like, do we not have 5,000 examples of women sacrificing themselves to have relationships with men? Do we not have 5,000 examples of that? I feel like we do. She also asked, where is the white shade room? It's the tabloids, National Enquirer, Joe Rogan's podcast, Paris Hilton, People Magazine, TMZ. You think the white people are doing the exact same thing, y'all? The white people are doing the exact same thing. When I tell y'all the way white people be eating up Haley and Justin Bieber, all in them people's relationship, every time you turn around, what the fuck is going on here? Child, they did a breakdown of old boy, y'all know the white boy that was on This Is Us, the brother. I think his name is Justin. Child, I just saw a video about all his marriages and how it seemed like he just be in and out, in and out. Women over there self-sacrificing and doing everything for them relationships. Child. Yes, the fuck they do. Y'all just not in they news, so y'all don't know. Stop acting like black people the only ones that be all in everybody's business. No, that's not true. The fuck? Candy and Toya really loved on Kirk and Rashida. I figured that. And I'm gonna say this. I'm glad that Rashida has people that she's actually a good friend to, because y'all heard what I said last time we talked about it. She's just not a good friend to the people on that show. And then they said, oh, she was a good friend to Spice because Kirk was willing to pay for Spice to come back to America when she had that whole situation. And yeah, I'm glad that y'all are willing to throw y'all money around and shit like that. And I really don't think that situation with Yandy made y'all bad friends like that. But the way Rashida stands behind and beside toxic men, even when they're wrong with the way they handle women, and then she just stays quiet when it comes to that, yeah, I'm sorry. It looks the way it looks. It looks the way it looks, Rashida. But if y'all like it, I love it. Okay, that's all I got about that. I hope y'all are enjoying the video, child. So yes, there are themes, girl. I'm ready to get into sinners. Okay. I do feel like I'm gonna do a separate video about sinners. Hold up, y'all. I wanna find something to put up here for that. I'm gonna do a full video about it. I'll probably try to do it tomorrow because I have something to do today. But it was really good. Okay. It was really, 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 really good. And it's a vampire movie. It's a horror movie. It's Ryan Coogler. So you know they have all of these themes throughout the film. And one of the themes that I feel like matches with the commentary today is the way white and black women self-sacrifice. This is such a good segue, bitch. Oh my God. Because Rashida's up there thinking that white women don't have these same stories or these same issues of self-sacrificing themselves in relationships. And they do. They do. Black and white women do this. And I think that was presented in this movie, right? So, as not to give spoilers, there is a quadroon, octoroon, caucasity lady with one of the brothers, because y'all know Michael B. Jordan plays twins. And they want to open up a juke joint. And the juke joint gets attacked by vampires. Okay? That's basically how it goes down. In this dynamic, you have the two women. You have the white woman and you have the black woman. The white woman is willing to sacrifice herself. Yes, still for the black man, willing to sacrifice herself, put herself in harm's way for the black man. The black woman is also willing to protect. There's a difference, right? The white woman is not going to put her body in front of the black man's body so he doesn't get harmed. The black woman is. So the black woman will end up dying. Okay? The black woman, you know what I'm saying? Oh, shit, was that a spoiler? Fuck. Damn. I'm sorry, y'all. I didn't mean to do that. But it's a example of how black women are affected by the self-sacrificing that they do, and white women are able to return to some semblance of safety because of their whiteness. I'm sorry, y'all. Sorry. I didn't mean to do that like that. Didn't I say I wasn't going to just plop it out like a dick? I didn't mean to do that, y'all. My bad. Hopefully y'all got out of here once I started talking about it. It's still not going to kill it for y'all because y'all got to see it. My bad. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to. I was really just trying to make the point because I feel like that's what was seen in the movie. That's not really gonna give y'all too much. Technically, everyone did. Yeah, yeah. But I just wanted to point out the self-sacrifice that I saw from both of those women in the film. And also how the reason why it was so loud to me is because the men were saying shit to them. The exact same thing. I love you, but I can't be there for you. The men were doing the same thing, y'all. I love you, but I can't be there for you. I love you. I miss you, but I can't be there for you. I can't be with you. And what does it do? It keeps these women on a string, willing to sacrifice themselves for these men. I'm just saying, y'all. I'm just saying. Okay. Also, I've been hearing a lot of discourse about the way the black woman is being seen as an auntie versus the white woman that is being seen more sexual and all of that. Yeah, no. That's not how I felt at all. I don't know if y'all have watched that character before, but she was in um the show, y'all. Come on, y'all. Y'all know my mind is going blank right now, but the black woman in the movie who played Annie, Annie's character was in that show back in the day that I never finished the last Lovecraft Country. And she was a sex symbol to me in Lovecraft Country. So, yes, Annie's energy is sexual. It to me, it actually gives you the sex side to that archetype that we were never seeing before. The tall, big, busted, dark-skinned black woman that protects everybody, that cooks good food, that knows everybody, that you go to for safety. You go to put your head on her chest and all of that. They took all of the sexuality away from that woman, away from that archetype. But that's not how she actually showed up in real life because Big Mama was getting fucked. I just want y'all to be clear. Big Mama was getting fucked. And I think y'all weren't clear on that. The specific actress playing that role was perfect because she embodies all of those energies. The sexual, the strong, the protective, the robust, the knowing. Like she encompassed all of those things about a black woman that are beautiful and great. And really the thing that should be godlike in this world. Another thing that it brought into perspective is how ludicrous racism is because the vampires, the fucking vampires are low key better than the racist. Like the racists are such a stupid afterthought in the film. And that's what I really enjoyed about it, that we didn't have that feeling. Because y'all know how when we go see these time period movies, it gives us this certain feel of loss or dread because we know how we know how it goes for white people to always disempower and abuse us and get away with it. We're very familiar with that ache and that feeling. And when we watch certain movies, it just reinforces that feeling. It's trauma porn. So for Ryan Coogler to be able to create this film in a way that does not give us that vibe at all, chef's kiss. Chef's fucking kiss. Okay? I really, really want to give y'all a more detailed review at a later date. But the movie is fantastic. And I feel like I'm so sorry if I ruined anything for you, but I really can't possibly ruin anything for you. I feel like you know early on what's going to happen with Annie if you're paying attention because it is foreshadowed. But also, you know how this shit goes. And you know people have to die in order to give it meaning, in order for you to really feel it. But one of the main things that stayed with me was the reoccurring theme of time and identity and how time is not linear, right? So I don't know if y'all have heard, but there's a theory that time is happening all together at once, right? And that's where that movie comes from, everything all together at once, meaning that our spirit has been here and it will be here forever. We don't really die. We just regenerate in a different form. And those versions of ourselves are ever present with us as we walk through life, whether we know it or not. And if you have the perspective that you were all of these different people before, and you will be all of these different people in the future, the combination of all of yourselves makes you whole. It makes you godlike. It makes you a god. All of the different versions of yourself complete, having all of these different experiences. I was at a restaurant, and I told this story, and I'm gonna tell it again. I was at this restaurant, Addie's. It's an African restaurant in downtown New Orleans. Is I don't know what they call that area, child, but it's all off Bayou Road, y'all. Okay, off Esplanade Bayou Road in Broad. And I grew up in that neighborhood. My mom's hair salon was on the same block. And this restaurant used to be a corner store. And I used to walk into this corner store and go up to that window every day, go and walk around the back, go and, give me a pack of noodles. You know what I'm saying? Like from the side, like I can, in my mind, envision what it was like walking into that store every day for years. From the time that I was probably like maybe 6 or 7, I was going in the store, and they would, it's back in the day when they would let you get cigarettes for your grandfather because they know he lives down the street. Like that type of thing. So as I'm sitting in the restaurant, I am literally having this moment of seeing myself coming into the store over and over and over again, over and over and over again, standing in front of that window and watching, the Vietnamese people, Miss Kim and all of them, watching them move around, me standing there, and then me sitting here now. And also recognizing that there are moments when I look back, there was a feeling at that time that let me know it would be something that would happen in the future. Like something would reflect back, right? So for instance, with my husband, when we knew each other, it always felt like there was some type of affection, some fondness that I had not experienced with anybody else in my life. Where I met him, there was a reason like to go to him and speak to him. And then this familiarity. And then over time, developing this very comfortable, looking forward to being around you. We already had some type of remnants of what the relationship was going to turn into back then. And I felt it. And I said it to him. And so now we're sitting in the restaurant, and I'm looking at this spot, and it made me realize how just as I was a little girl there, and here I am now, and I can see myself then, I am always ever present in time. And that adds such a depth to this idea. And I'm going to take it even deeper for you. It makes me feel like you walk this life alone, but you don't. You are always you. In every different time that you are you, in every different version of you, you are always with you. You are whole and complete all by yourself. All by yourself. Because all of the versions of the past and all of the versions of the future are walking with you in every moment, whether you know it or not. It's a reason not to always be looking outside of yourself for comfort, to feel whole, to see yourself truly. And I feel like there was something about that was very godlike for me, like the moment of it, recognizing that time is not linear, and there are things that we feel in a moment that we have no idea what's going to happen in the future, but our soul recognizes it on some level. And I feel like, that's the example I have with our relationship, is that whatever that fondness was, whatever that closeness is, I feel it every day when, we talk on the phone when he's at work, or when he, walks through the door. I feel that feeling that I felt back then over and over and over and over and over again. and I just wasn't even aware of what was going to happen, but the feeling was always there. And that's why we have to like trust our instincts and trust our feelings about shit, because it really is God. It really is God. If you are listening for real to yourself, it is God. It is the version of you that already knows what's going to happen. It's the version of you and all of the different lives you've lived that can now collect and become this culmination of a being. It is really a deep thing. And I feel like that's what the movie reflected, because the vampires were following the music. They were following the sound of music. And this is not new. This was also reflected in Queen of the Damned. I don't know if y'all ever watched Queen of the Damned. That's one of my favorite movies. I actually did a Now That We're Grown on it. But Lestat playing the music and hearing music would draw him. And it's because music is one of those things that transcends time. My favorite scene in Sinners is this scene where they're in the juke joint and they're playing the music, and we get to see present, future, and past dancing, playing this music, releasing, having this joyous moment. And that's what the vampires were seeking, the ability to be here now, but to be with all of these different versions at the same time. The vampires could see it. When the music is playing, they can see the present version, the future version, the past version. They can see it. We can't. All we can do is feel it. And I think the theme of not letting go of the things that God has given you, for real, not Christian God, the things that you were brought into this world with, the gifts that you have been given, the tools that you've been given from every version of yourself previously. You have been given something in this life that you were supposed to be utilizing. That is your gift. That is your purpose for being. A lot of us don't have the time or the energy to figure out what that thing is, because we're always in survival mode, which is why we are so separated from the wholeness of ourselves. That's why we're so separated from it, because you don't even have the time to figure out what it is. Some of us are blessed with knowing it when we come into this life. I always knew what I would do. In one way or another, I always knew what I would do. And I think it's the same thing for a lot of other artists or musicians. You know what you're going to do and what that's going to feel like for other people and for yourself. It's a gift. You should not throw it away, because it attracts. It attracts light and dark. And the movie basically was like Christianity, something that was given to you as a distraction, church, religion, all of whatever you want to classify it as. It will tell you that the things that are innate to you are bad. Your intuition is bad. Your gifts, if there's something secular about your gifts, it's bad because it's not of God. That's not true. It's a way that they have demonized you actually looking within and working with what you've already been given, so you don't feel whole. It's really fucked up, because I feel like when you think about it, they really what's the word? They exploit gifts. They exploit gifts to the point that it makes you feel like it's a bad thing. And you have to reach for the things that are real for you. You have to reach for the things that are all your own. And yes, we go through life and things happen to us so we can figure these things out. Yes. Experience and all of that helps with perspective. Yes. But all in all, anything that obstructs you from seeing yourself clearly and from digging into who you are and figuring out who you are is not a good thing. Marriage can sometimes be a distraction. Religion can sometimes be a distraction. And even going so deeply into worldly things, addiction can be a distraction from figuring out what you're supposed to be doing while you're here that is meant to fulfill you in a way that other people, entities, and things cannot. But what this socialized system is teaching you is to search for everything outside of yourself to feel what is inside. that is vacant, but it doesn't teach you how to look within. Not really. Not really. It teaches you to see everything as secular and a separation. But the truth of the matter is the things that we do in this life have spiritual effects. One thing affects the other. So is above, so is below. Like, you have to be real with yourself. So yeah. I think I can leave it right there. I think I can leave it right there. It was a beautiful movie. It was a beautiful movie. I hope y'all enjoyed the content today. Please don't forget to, like, comment, subscribe to my channel, do all the things. Don't forget to subscribe to BondyBlue Bites, because I'm going to go downstairs and edit and put up some new stuff. I hope the issues with the Wi-Fi, the Wi-Fi wasn't messing up too bad. But anyway, appreciate you guys. Y'all have a good rest of y'all day, and I will see y'all in the next one.